All right, we're going live today on a Friday before the long weekend. I know you guys are probably already taking the day off because you're killing it in your business, but just in case you're not, I'm going live here to help you guys out. Today is the Get Off the Tools Q&A day. So if you're on the tools and you want to get off the tools and you're stuck and don't know how to do that, this is what this call is about, this live's about. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments and be able to help you out with figuring out a way for you to get off the tools if that's what you want to do. Maybe you don't, maybe you want to stay on the tools, and that's okay. But if you're looking to get off the tools and you're stuck, throw your questions in the comments and we'll jump in here and start helping you guys out. So let me do one thing here real quick. There we go. All right, so welcome to the live Friday afternoon Q&A live contractor talk hammer and grind podcast. If you guys aren't listening to the podcast, you should. There's 77 episodes over the past year and a half. I've dropped one every week with the exception of a couple weeks I missed. But there's a ton of content in there, and I am constantly trying to bring more information, more interviews to help you guys. So one other thing, request for me is that if you are a contractor and you have moderate success, or you're in the space, you've been there for a few years and you want to be on the podcast, I'm interviewing contractors to see what they're doing in their business that's allowed them to be successful. So if you guys are watching this and you want to be on the podcast, shoot me a message and we'll make that happen. So if you're watching live on TikTok, just throw your questions in the comments. We're going to be talking about really how to get off the tools, if that's what your goal is with your business. Some of you may be brand new to the contracting space, or 6 months in, a year in, or maybe 20 years in. I don't know. But if your goal is to get off the tools, that's what we're talking about. Today, for me, it's a lazy Friday. I got my regular t-shirt on and leaving this afternoon. We're going to go camping for the weekend with the fam. So just kind of taking it easy today. Real quick, if you guys are interested in a great charity to donate to, check out the Underground Railroad, Operation Underground Railroad. It's a great organization that helps end child trafficking all over the world. So it's something that you can definitely put some money behind that you know is going to make a difference. So check that out. It's a little shout out, and I'm not sponsoring anything by them. It's a great cause that I like to promote. So, all right, guys, if you're watching this, if you're a contractor and you want to know how to get off the tools, there's several things that has to happen before you can do that. And as someone who has owned the construction business for 11 years and has tried multiple times to get off the tools, successfully got off the tools, unsuccessfully had to get back on the tools over and over multiple times, had to hire teams, lose teams, restart with teams, rebuild. Like, I've done it all. I've done all of that, going through the headache of trying to get off the tools, build a team. Your team loses. I lost my entire team of 3 guys in 1 month, all because of random, not connected. Lost all 3 guys in 1 month, and I had to go back on the tools for a year. So that stuff happens, but there's things that you need to be doing in your business now. Even if you started a business yesterday and today is day 1, there's things that you need to be doing today going forward to prepare yourself for the time when you want to get off the tools. So yeah, Bob Boyd, he says, I hire managers to stay on the tools, and that's perfectly okay. Like, he's identified what he wants to do in his business, and then he hires out for the positions that he doesn't want to do. If you want to stay on the tools, but you still want to build a healthy business, then you need to hire like a general manager. You need to hire like a salesman. You need to hire an office manager or whatever. So you may need to hire out the positions that you don't want to do. For a lot of guys, though, as you work and get older, your body starts breaking down. So unless you want to be a 65-year-old man, swinging a hammer every day, at some point you're probably going to want to transition to getting off the tools, or at least getting off more than what you are now, not full time. One other thing that's interesting is that when you get to the position to where you don't have to work on the tools, in other words, you have teams in place, you have managers in place, you have everything in place so that you don't have to be on the tools. If you choose to be on the tools, in other words, you just like doing it so much that you go out in the field and you work with the guys for half a day, that is a totally different position to be in your business than if you are working on the tools every day and you want to get off, right? Those are two totally different things. And it actually makes it more enjoyable when you don't have to work on the tools, but then you do it out of the love or because you want to, right? There's something about it mentally that when you don't have to do it, even though it may be crappy work or really hard or hot or tough work that you're doing, when you don't have to and you can quit at any second, like you could just say, you know what, it's too hot out here. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go back to the office and the air conditioning. When you have the ability to be able to do that, it actually makes it easier for you to do that job. But when you're stuck doing it and you're working on the tools 9 hours a day and you need to make sales calls and you need to do estimates, and when you get done, you got to go look at a job and all these things, it makes it very difficult for you to run and grow a healthy business. So those are really two different positions to be in, like wanting to be on the tools versus wanting to get off the tools, right? So I'm talking mainly about wanting to get off the tools. And if you guys are just joining in here, throw your questions in the comments. If you're trying to figure out, if you're stuck in your business and you're trying to figure out how you can get off the tools, then we can have some questions or Q&A about that. Today is really more about just helping you guys with questions, and it doesn't have to be specifically about getting off the tools. If you have any questions about your contracting business and you just want to get an opinion from me, throw it in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. I'm going to take a quick water break. By the way, get these 1-gallon jugs of water, and these are cool because it has hours. It tells you where you should be drinking in the day for your water. Drink a gallon of water a day, and you'd be surprised how much that helps or benefits your health. So Gary says, I'm 40. I'm assuming you say I want off the tools. So Gary, quick question: what do you do? Like, what's your trade, and what's your current your team? Like, are you a one-man show? Do you have 2 employees? Like, what's your kind of your current setup? So we can kind of work through this that pertains to you. Because you might be, if you're a one-man show and you're on the tools, there's a lot more stuff that's going to happen for you, right? Like you're going to have to hire people, you're going to have to build out a team, or you're going to have to go to the subcontractor model or whatever. So Gary's an electrician. Do you work by yourself, Gary, or do you have employees? While you're answering that, I'm checking something here. All right. Bob Boy Jones says, do you prefer working foreman or managing only? Are you asking me that, Bob Boy? I like to manage. I don't I don't even want to do foreman bullcrap. For me, I've always liked being a manager. You're a company guy. I got nothing. So you don't even have your own business, Gary? So you work for somebody else? Is that what you're saying? I mean, that's a totally different situation, right? You got to move up to you'd have to move up to a management position. All right, Travis is here. The party can start. Yeah, Gary, I mean, you'd either have to move into a management position or you would have to start your own business, right? Like at some point you're going to have to make that switch. And if you start your own business, you're probably going to be on the tools for another, a year, maybe 5, depending on how you set up your business. That's a little bit different situation of like working for someone else versus having your own business. You are a foreman. Gary, is that what you're saying? You are the foreman, but you're a working foreman, I'm assuming. If that's what you're saying. So we'll keep going here, and yeah, okay. So I mean, it's whatever the next step up for that is. If you don't want to be on the tools, you got to get to the next level. You know, whether it's project manager. I don't know what the current employment setup is, but if you want to get off the tools, you're going to have to advance in the company. And if you're going to do that, the way you get off of those tools is by investing in yourself. As a business owner, if I have an employee who is going out on his own to get better, to advance, and he's making strides to better himself, which is going to in turn benefit me and my business, I'm going to give that guy a serious look, right? Like that's going to impress me and make me want to uh, promote this guy within. If I have guys showing up and they do good work, like they do really good work, they're good employees, but they don't have any desire to take on responsibility or grow or do things in the business, then they're not going to get as much attention from me as the business owner. So those that are like actively trying to better themselves and in return better the business, and they're coming to me and saying, "Hey, boss, I'd really like to have more responsibility. Like, what can I do to get there?" Just that simple thing of having someone who wants more responsibility is going to impress me, right? So, um, I got a couple comments going on here. Random highlights of me says, "Y'all sign up for his course. It's gold." I don't know who that is. Who's random highlights of me? Trying to figure out who that is. Travis says, "Yeah." And then Gary says, "What's your trade?" Gary, I did remodeling mainly. That was pretty much what we did, was remodeling. So I don't know who random highlights of me is. Identify yourself. Beth Jordan. Hi, Beth. Thanks for the comment, Beth. So, yeah. So, anyways, back to off tools. I hope that helps, Gary. Help you with how to get there. I mean, I don't know if you're union, non-union. I don't know what size company you work for. Maybe you're the forking foreman, and the next step up as the owner. Like, I don't know all that information. But if you want to get off the tools, you're going to have to move up the ranks in that company, or you're going to have to start your own business and do that. So it just depends on which way you want to go. But business owners want employees who go above and beyond. Those are the ones that we want working in our business. Oh, sorry, Beth. Like, wasn't registering at all. Even when you said Beth Jordan, it just totally wasn't even registering. So, yeah, sorry. I have puppy brain, guys. We picked up 2 puppies last Saturday, and so sleep deprived, like I just got puppy brain. So I'm not quite as sharp as I normally am. So now that I fully understand Beth, thank you. Yes, Beth and her husband are one of my clients, and they're doing some good stuff down in the Atlanta area. Remodeling, Gary, fan of remodeling, a handyman, actually both. So I had a handyman slash remodeling company. And by remodeling, I'm talking about kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, basement remodels. I built a few decks, although I absolutely hate and despise decks. But most of the thing that we did was bathroom remodels. Did a lot of our own. We did our own tile work. I personally did the tile work, all the showers and stuff. And I'm a finished carpenter by trade. Me personally, that's what I learned on, was finished carpentry. So I actually started out I kind of went backwards. I started out working for a developer, a local developer, and he had a unique business model where he was building houses and building strip malls and office buildings for himself. So he was an investor, but he would basically be his own GC, build these up, and then either sell them off or rent them out and then sell them off or keep them for himself. And he hired me as a superintendent with really hardly any experience, real world experience, other than in high school I took drafting, architectural drawings. I understood the drawing aspect and the how things go together. But I worked for a construction manager, so it was the owner, construction manager, me, and all I was doing was going around picking up materials and working. Meeting the subcontractors. Like, I was basically the little go-to person, right? Didn't have much authority. But then after a year of working there, it started slowing down, and my construction manager boss got let go. And the owner said, "Hey, you're doing a pretty good job. Why don't you take on some of his responsibilities? Like, you take on half of it, I'll take on the other half, and we'll kind of fill in him, and you'll get a pay raise and blah, blah, blah." Well, quickly, I was doing everything. So I was the construction manager. We were building houses, we were building strip malls, we were building office buildings. And then he went out of business. I went to work for one of the Finnish carpenters that was our sub. He was our subcontractor. I went to worked for him for a couple of years. Then I started my own business. So started out as construction management, and then I went down to the bottom and then worked myself back up. So I see some stuff going on in the comments. You guys are having a back and forth. Gary is asking Travis is talking about tile setters. Gary says, "Okay, so you think you know everything, but you are a woodworker." Travis is calling him out, saying sounds kind of not, I can't even talk. Antagonistic. Oh yeah, there we go. Puppy brain. Derek says, "I have a disaster restoration company in small town for 15 years. Growth is stable but slow. How do I grow?" Dude, restoration is extremely hard to grow in because your profit margins are so low. So that's kind of a whole different situation. Travis, Gary can do whatever he wants. Like, if he doesn't, it doesn't bother me if I'm just a woodworker. So I need to show the puppies. I've thought about starting an own TikTok channel for them, but I don't know if I want to get distracted. But they'll be on the show. I'll have the puppies on the channel. Their name's Rocky and Cookie. Rocky Road Ice Cream and Cookie Dough Ice Cream. That's their names. They're brother and sister. All right, so Gary says, "I did HVAC before electrician, so I know a few things. You probably know your shit. I'm just curious. Are you talking to me or Travis Butters Sierra? I don't know who you're talking to." Grow faster. Do I expand to other towns or try more, grow more market share? Well, anytime you grow outside of your market, you're going to create all new problems. You got logistical problems, you got managerial problems. So you need to max out your market share in your current market before you start looking to go into outside markets. Oh, you don't do back and forth with commenters. Yeah, man, that's cool. So, you asked for help. I gave you some advice. If you don't like it, that's okay. It's your prerogative. You can either leave or you can stay. Like, it's totally up to you, man. If I'm not qualified to give you advice, that's cool. But I'm not going to do back and forth with commenters that are going to say stupid shit like you were saying. That's just how I do that. So there's people on here that want real advice, and they actually want to make differences. So if you want to complain, that's cool, but either leave or I'm not going to respond to you. I just found you and I think I like you. All right. Cool, man. Well, hang out if you want. That's cool. So, Derek, back to you. How to grow faster. I would look at for the restoration companies because you're limited to profit margins, mostly dictated by the insurance companies. I would look at potential additional revenue generating activities within your current market. So if you're, I don't know a ton about the restoration like industry in terms of what's all possible. I've done a little bit of work with restoration companies, and I know a lot of them make really good money with their machines. Like you make most of your money when the machines are running. So there is a company here locally that does like they do restoration work locally, but they have like disaster trailers. So they have like semi trailers or cargo trailers full of equipment, and then if there's a disaster, if there's a flooding in Mississippi or whatever and the whole towns are flooded, those local companies can't handle that flow of work, and they most of the time they're drying out stuff, right? They need machines. And so this company local has a trailer full of machines, air dryers and all that stuff. I mean, like 30, 40 air dryers. And when there's a disaster, they get a call and it's like, hey, we need dryers. They send a crew down there for a weekend or a week and set up their dryers, and they make a crap ton of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in a week, because they're using their machines. They're not doing the demo, they're not doing the putback. All they're doing is basically leasing out their machines or setting up the machines and doing that part of it. So that's something that you can definitely expand into with the restoration side of business if you don't want to like create another office in a town, down the street. I would get into the equipment business side of it. The company here locally makes a killing. They make more money with their machines on disasters than they actually do from the local restoration part of it, because there's just the profit margins aren't there with insurance companies. So I don't know if that helps you or not. But that's what I would recommend, is like maxing out what you can do first, smaller, before you start adding on other offices and other markets. And you also got to have your systems in place, right? Like before you can expand to another market, you essentially have to have a business that's franchisable. Whether or not you actually franchise it doesn't matter, but you have to be able to have a business where, I don't have one here, but you have a binder of all your operations. Let's pretend this is a binder, and you go, okay, here's the operations binder. Here you go. This is everything you need to be able to run your business or your office, right? Your division. If you don't have that set up currently, and then you try to add on other offices, it's going to expose all the weaknesses of your business. Yeah. So the mitigation, yeah, Derek. So that's what I would do, man. I would look into in this company. You know more about this than I do, but there's like associations. There's like a water, mitigation organization or association that is a part of the insurance companies. And it costs a lot of money to be part of that, but then you get put into that network. And so that when they have disasters, if you're in that network and you're close by, they'll call you. That's what that company does locally. They get all of their work from that network that they're a part of. And I don't know what the cost is, but I think it's like, I don't know, $20,000 a year to be a part of that network. And then but they make hundreds of thousands of dollars because of it. So yeah, insurance vendor programs. Yeah. I mean, I think there's like a national, it's not specific to one insurance company, but it's like a national association of restoration companies. And then you get put on that list, that call list. So that would be my suggestion to you as far as the insurance goes, is to maximize those before you try to branch out and have multiple locations. And you got to have your business like on lockdown. Like it has to be able to run without you before I open another office. So I hope that helps, man. Random highlights of me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Her and her husband are one of my one-on-one clients. We've been working with them for a few weeks, and so it's exciting to see whenever they are doing things in their business and making some moves and getting the help. So, um, yeah, guys, any other questions you have for me? I got plenty of time here to hang out and answer questions for you. I don't know who's still on here, who's still hanging out with me. Looking at my, I think we lost Gary. I think Gary got mad at me and left. That's okay. Ego was a terrible thing in business. I just dropped I dropped a video this morning. It was the top 3 trades with the worst egos. Tile setters are number 1, and handyman are number 2. Concrete guys are number 3. Ball boy, are you talking to me or are you talking to someone else? I never know who you're talking to. They should do a class on TikTok about whenever you're commenting, make sure you tag the person you're talking to, because I never know. I never know. Brock on Facebook says, "Great point. Couldn't agree more about having the processes in place." Yeah, Brock. Yeah, you got to have processes before you expand. If you don't have, this is, and I'll get into this a little bit more, but when you don't have, there's a common misconception about growing your profits. You have to like grow horizontally to make money. So you hire a few employees, and they get you make so much money per year, and you're like, oh, I'm maxed out. I can't make any more money. So the only way I can make more money is to hire more people, and that's not always the best way. And so when you hire more people, what that ends up doing is it it magnifies the problems in your business. So before you hire and grow, you should have everything on lockdown. You should have your processes tight. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you should have all your processes in place before you expand, because once you expand and you have 5, 10, 15 people, it makes it much more difficult, like 10 times more difficult to try and create processes then. And it takes up a ton of your time, and you have a lot more production loss because it's not efficient. Your business is not efficient. And then you've essentially expanded the problem by doing that. Bob boy, I don't have any employees. My construction business I put on hold in January of this year because I'm transitioning to doing the coaching full time. I still have my business. I'm in the process of selling it, but I don't have any employees currently. I do have 4 people that if I decided to start the business back up, I just make a phone call and they're ready to jump back on board. So that was a decision that I made to because this is the way I want to go with businesses into the full-time coaching. I get a lot. It's for me, it's a passion. I get a lot more energy. I love waking up in the morning and doing this stuff and working with contractors and seeing the results. Travis is on here. We were just having a conversation before this of how much additional profit he's made since joining in January, and it's mind-boggling. Like, to be a part of that, to where you're actually changing people's lives, not just changing their bathroom. And for me, that's more of a passion than it is a something that's nice to do. Like, yeah, it's cool to remodel a bathroom, and you take a step back and say, I did all that work. Like, there's pride in that, and that's enjoyable. But when I leave that job, that enjoyment leaves too, right? It doesn't carry on. Whenever I help a contractor who now gets to see his kids, go to his kids' recitals and stuff for the first time in 5 years, or this other contractor who made an extra $100,000 this year that he can now afford to do things and live the life that he wants. Like, that stuff is long lasting. That's going to be there forever. So for me, it was just more of a passion. I had to make a decision. Derek says I have 19 employees, pretty good systems, always have room for more. Yeah, absolutely. Should always be looking to better your systems and business. I don't know if Beth's still there. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday, or our Tuesday morning call. What else we got? Facebook user, I think that's Caleb. Yeah, Caleb. Best way to get leads. If I can get the leads to come in, I can sell the job, but haven't having a hard time getting leads and people calling or messaging. Caleb, what are you currently doing in your business to get leads? Let's start with that because there's a couple things that may be going on that we might be able to work through. So if you're still watching, Caleb, what are you doing currently to market for your business? And while you're answering, the number one way to get leads quickly is through Google pay-per-click. You just set up an AdWords account through Google. You start running ads on Google for certain keywords, and then you pay per click. And depending on what you do, where you're at, the price of that click's going to vary. So if you're in like Chicago and you do, and you're a bathroom remodeler, you're going to pay an enormous amount per click. You're going to pay like 25, 30, maybe $50 per click because it's a very high competition keyword in a very highly competitive market. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you live in a town of like 80,000 people, there's probably not going to be anybody advertising for that keyword. And so there, your keyword, the price per click may only be $2. So there's some different strategies that you can do around pay-per-click, but that is the single fastest and easiest way to get leads in your business is through Google. There's other ways that aren't as fast or as easy. There's other ways that are that do way better, but they take a really long time to implement and a long time to see results. So when you're doing like lead strategies, you really want to implement all of them. You want to implement short-term strategies and long-term strategies and combine them, and then you'll have infinite leads. I have a truck wrap, a yard signs, ran a couple Facebook ads, mainly to get traffic to my page. I haven't tried Google yet. So first thing you got to do, guys, if you're watching, if you don't have a Google profile and you're not collecting reviews on every job you do, that is an absolute must. Like, it's not even an option anymore. It is a requirement. You should be getting reviews on every job you do. If you don't think people go look you up on Google, you're wrong. They do. It's the first place they go. So you need to be checking out you need to be having reviews. Reviews are literally like my number one source of leads is through reviews, because I have, in my construction business, I had almost 180 something reviews. I had like a 4.9 star rating, and my closest competitor had 16 reviews. So when someone goes and search keyword searches for that type of work, and my company comes up as number one with 178 or however many it was, 180 reviews, and the closest one's 16, they're going to call me first every time. So reviews are super important. You have to have reviews. The other thing, though, is the wraps are good. The Facebook is good. If you want to drive people to your Facebook page, run very simple giveaways. Run a little giveaway where it's like, hey, I'm giving away a Home Depot $25 Home Depot gift card. All you have to do to be eligible is like and share this post, or like and tag a friend, and you and your friend will both be eligible, or something like that. And then you'll get people sharing your page or tagging a friend, and you'll start to get organic growth. You may get, depending on how many people you have now, like if you only have 100 people liking your page, you're not going to get a whole lot of reach. But if you have 500 or 600 people, 1,000 people, and you run a thing like that, you may add another 10% more to your total list of people liking your page. But the thing you got to do for your page to make it worth it is you have to start constantly put out content. You got to go live. You got to post things that are helpful to people, and you have to really just overall give value. You have to give away value for free if you want people to get it organically. But run a simple contest. Hey, I'm giving away a $25 gift card to Home Depot. All you got to do is like and share. Make sure when you do that, though, set the time frame out pretty substantial, like 2 or 3 weeks. Don't say, if it's Monday, I'm going to give away a free card on Friday, because that week period won't give you enough time to generate enough people liking and sharing. So set it up for like 3 weeks or a month away. You don't have to tell them exactly, but just say, I'm giving away a free $25 gift card to Home Depot to get your project started. And then here's the rules: like and share, follow our page or whatever. One thing I would say not to do not give a gift card to your business. Don't say, hey guys, I'm giving away a $25 gift card towards services if you hire us. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's shady, because you're forcing people to have to hire you. Will people sign up just because they want the gift card? Absolutely, they will. But the point is, you're trying to get more eyeballs on your business. What else? What else got? Questions? Yeah, keep collecting your reviews though, Caleb. Like, don't stop. Every job you should be collecting reviews. Don't just get like 5 or 6 and then stop. Especially if you do larger projects. If you only do like 20 projects a year, it's super critical that you get 20 reviews. If you're like an electrician or a plumber and you're doing like 200 jobs a year, it's not going to be as critical to get a review from every person, but you should be getting like, 50% of your jobs you should be getting reviews on. There's a local HVAC company here that I use for my business, and I also subcontractor work to, and they have like 3,000 reviews. It's insane how many reviews they have. So, what else you guys got? What else can I help you with? Throw your questions in there. Caleb says, I have a hard time getting them. Everyone says, yeah, I definitely leave one, but then they don't, and I don't want to keep bugging them. Okay, so Caleb, great question. There's 2 ways to do this. One, you do it on the day that you're done and you collecting a check, if you do it that way. If you show up to the job to collect a check for final payment on the last day, while you're standing there in front of them, hey, would you mind doing us a favor and leaving a review for us? And they may say, yeah, sure. And then you pull it up on your phone and may either have like a QR code or text them a link, but do it right then. Okay, great. I'm gonna send you a link right now. Or, here, if you scan this, it'll let you it'll make it easy for you. The thing is to make it easy for them. Don't just say, hey, Caleb, if you wouldn't mind, would you leave us a Google review? Because what they're going to have to do is, when you leave, they have to go get on a computer, or they have to open up their phone. They have to search for your business, and they have to leave a review. There's just too much barrier to entry for them to do that. If you say, great, here's a QR code, all you got to do is scan it, or even open it up on your phone. Okay, great. Here, I got it open for you, and hand them your phone and say, if you wouldn't mind doing it, I would really appreciate it. Now they're on the spot, and now they have to do it right then, right? The other option is you can automate it, which is what I did. I used a company called Nice Job. It's a review gathering service. $75 a month. It's worth every penny. But it would send out a text and email sequence. It would send out 5 messages. It would send out, I think, 2 text messages and then 3 follow-up emails, basically saying, hey, we'd appreciate it if you leave a message, blah, blah, blah. And then the last email was like, hey, this is Brad. Just want to let you know this is the last time I'm going to contact you about leaving a review. If you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. And usually that last email had the highest conversion rate. Why? It wasn't because they didn't want to leave me a review. It was because they just kept forgetting about it. Just kept forgetting about it. Yeah, and you can do that too, Tony. You can have a link on there. The other thing that we would do to help implement this, because we did a lot of smaller jobs that we weren't always out there, like I wasn't out there collecting the check, the guys would be, is that my office manager would call and call the customer. Hey, Caleb, this is This is Brad with Brad's company. Just calling to check and see how everything went. The guys said they were just left the house and just wanted to see if everything turned out okay for you and to make sure you're happy. And they're like, oh yeah, they did great. Super happy. Love you. Definitely call you guys back again. Awesome. Well, if just so you know, you'll get a request from us to leave a review. And if you wouldn't mind doing that, we'd really appreciate it. And they go, oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love to leave you a review. So now I'm prepping them. So now they get a text that says, hey, leave us a review. And then they do it. So you have to make it easy for your customers to do that. Hope that helps with that. So I'm going to have to go ahead and I'm going to have to leave early today, guys, because we're getting stuff ready to go out of town. So I did want to hop on here and have a chat with you. I appreciate you tuning in. Before you head out, if you guys wouldn't mind, double tap the screen on TikTok, and it just helps give me some likes, and it helps the whole algorithm thing. But yeah, I appreciate you all tuning in here. Hopefully you got some value from it. And I don't know if I'll be back Monday or not because it's Labor Day, but if I'm available, I'll jump on. If not, we'll do it again on Friday. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.